question I have, over the years I've been associated with veterans groups, can anyone tell me what they do to promote? Let me put it this way. There's a lot of young troops coming in, back home. They were somebody. The minute they take off that uniform, they feel that they're nobody. And the only association, in my experience, with a veteran is for him to be associated with a veterans group, like the American Legion, the VFW. Everybody thinks that we just got a bar. Here at Sweeney Post, to give you an example, we got 1,300 members. We have 100 people that participate. Last night we had a good band brought in here by one of our members. We had 150 people here. Half of them weren't even drinking, and we're non-smoking. So my question to any one of you that could answer, as you associate yourself with the employment, with the business group, how many of you promote the American Legion? And if you need information on that, I'm sure we can get it to you. So my question is can anyone tell me that they actually recruit or tell veterans about the associations of the service groups that we have in the city of Manchester or wherever you're from, that they should go down and talk? I give you an example, just one fast example. I recruited an individual 30 years ago who was a mental case, so to speak. Today he's fine because he associated himself. We veterans associate ourselves with other veterans, and some can snap out of it, some can be very productive, but we're here to help. We're not just here to have a bar and have a drink and stuff like that. But so I just want to know how many in your official duties tell a veteran about the American Legion, the VFW, and other service groups in the area.
So I'll start, and I'll certainly open it up to anyone in the room or to my colleagues here to my left or right. I think it's very important that part of your message, or a key part of your message, was veterans connecting with veterans. And I think that that's why VA is so strong. Let me share with you some of the things that we do. We have case managers specific to those veterans that are returning, that go back and reach out to veterans even before they are deployed and when they are coming back, and connect with the guard or whatever that they are coming back to. We have all types of resources, documentation, information that we're providing to them, not only about VA. We have a very comprehensive piece of resource information that we've recently created, I would say in the last 6 to 9 months, that gives them information that's specific that we think that would be helpful to them. Again, it gives them information related to anything in their community where they might need to reach out to, related to family resources, veterans types of outreach that might be useful, that we've recognized through experiences, that phone numbers, addresses, how they might be able to connect with another veteran in time of crisis. So it's not only how to reach a VA, it's how to reach out to each one of the types of services that are here today, and also any of the service organizations. There are over 100, I think maybe 200 resources in that document. This is part of our OIF program that we've established, and very impressive the work that they've done and the document that they've prepared. So I hope I've answered your question. Is there more work that we could do? Always. So, anyone else?
Thanks for the question. As you said, there's always more that we can do. From the Northeast Veterans Business Research Center, we are very tied into the American Legion. As I said, I'm on the way to Houston on Friday to be at the annual convention. I do workshops every year for the Washington Conference at the end of February. In fact, we run that for them. We set that up. We are active on the Hill with the legislative director of the American Legion, Lou Celli. We work with him. In fact, I've got a meeting with Louis when I'm in Houston talking about various aspects of Veterans Affairs. One of the problems I see for the veteran community is fewer than 1% of the U.S. population have ever worn a uniform. Fewer than 7% of our elected representatives in the House and Senate have ever worn a uniform. They don't understand, in a lot of cases, what we go through and some of the problems and concerns we have. So that's what we do on the Hill. We try to make that known. We try to work with various legislators. Congresswoman Porter, I appreciate your help and your assistance in that as well, and others out there. So I play a very active role with the American Legion in all 6 states that I participate in. One of the problems is being spread too thin. So we do the best we can. And again, I also mention it to other people when we talk about organizations, VFW, American Legion. The American Legion also is placed on our website. We have the American Legion emblem there, and they can find more information there. That answer your question? Anyone else?
Sure. Just very briefly, I can assure you that when folks come into the benefits office on Chestnut Street, that typically folks come in because they have a specific question or they want some help with their claim. However, if they need a little bit more assistance, or if it looks like they might benefit from having someone to really help them through the process a little more one-on-one, we do have 3 service organizations in the building, and we do refer folks. Also, when our letters go out to veterans, they have information at the end of the letter. If you need help with your claim, here are some folks you can contact. So we do help with that. Our mission is a little bit more unique. It tends to be specific to benefits. But we do share that information, and we have a very good working relationship with the service organizations. Anyone else?
I'll be brief, but just to answer your question, I would like to believe that in any of our offices, when you go to that Veterans Resources corner that we have set up, there'd be publications and brochures on all the veteran service organizations, among other things, so we welcome and always take in and reach out to get information about anything that service the veterans, whether it's the Legion or DAV, VFW, etc. As I said, our soup to nuts directory in here, which is on our webpage and in hard copy. Community Action Partnership, American Legion's right there on page 39. DAV, VFW, they're all in there to be listed as resources. So yes, we definitely do promote them. Our Disabled Veterans Outreach Program specialists, where their responsibilities to work and reach out to veterans that are in need. They would be reaching out to community organizations as well, so I'm sure when they're out there doing their outreach, they get information to bring back to have available to the veterans. But we certainly do promote it, and it's included in our publications, and any handouts that any organizations do provide to us that we're able to get are always placed in our Veterans Information Corner as a resource.
The demographic that we work with today with our returning veterans and so forth is probably much different than it was years ago. There are so many things that compete for their attention from a social standpoint, employment and so forth. And it's very difficult sometimes to get those messages out to that population. And the Legion and other veterans organizations are faced with that challenge. And how do you get that message out to let these younger veterans know what is available to them? A lot of the, I'm going to say the glue that used to hold units together, you had more unit activities and so forth, and when they came back you had a much larger community of veterans that they could associate with and relate to. It's a different story, and we find that every day in trying to communicate on our end with these younger veterans. And how do you do it? We found simple things, just a phone call doesn't work anymore. It's got to be the Twitter or the or texting or things of that nature to reach out with them. I think that veterans organizations need to make other organizations, such as the folks represented here, about the many programs, and there are many excellent programs that these organizations offer, They need to get that information to us. And then from there, as we're talking with folks, and a lot of times it is one-on-one, and we're looking at what are the needs that these folks have? What other challenges might they be facing? And sometimes it's just a simple thing. Have you considered checking with your local Legion post and looking at this program or that program? But that information needs to be gotten to the folks of organizations such as are assembled here at the head table.
Okay, 2 more comments.
I just wanted to follow up, and I agree with what everyone was saying, and just really offer too. We at the SBA, sequestration budgets are tight. However, we do have staff that work very hard and get out and give talks and to correspond and present what we do to groups like the Legion. And we would like to speak at every Legion across the state, every Legion across New England. It'll take some time, but it's a good goal, and we want to always work towards that. We want to have more successes like Tansy Electric. And the more we can do to spread our word, the better we will be at our agency, and the better we will be serving our community, especially the veterans. Miguel Morales, as well as Greta Johansson, they're great speakers. They're more than happy to come out and meet, whether it's with 5 people, whether it's 1 people, or whether it's with 150. So please contact us. We're more than willing to do that. So thank you. Congressman?
Thank you, and Mike, that was a great point. And I think before the federal government and state government and other organizations realized and organized enough for veterans, you all were doing it already. And that's the whole history of the American Legion and the VFW and all the other groups. You understood that you needed that place to come together, as you said, not just to sit around and tell stories, but to actually be effective for each other and to be great advocates. And to that point, it was mentioned that there's only fewer than 1% have ever worn a uniform, and then in the Congress, most people never have. And that's true. I happen to have been a military spouse, as you know, so I have a great familiarity with the culture. I sit on the Armed Services Committee, but there's a lot of people in the Armed Services Committee who don't know anybody. That is why your organization is so important. These organizations are important, but your organization, in terms of talking to us and talking about what it's like, and MOA and all the other groups that come. And we do meet twice a year for, at least with in my party, I don't know what they do on the other side, but I suspect they do the same thing, and bring together about 35 service organizations in a round table. And our job is to shut up and listen. And so we do get that conversation right there on the Hill, hearing from the heads of various service organizations. It's really a critical thing for people who have never served. And I do this not just for all of you, but for me too, because I'm trying to learn and trying to connect all the dots. So, and that's why we're here. Whoops. We're here versus another place, because we want to go to where veterans will be. And that's why I asked at the very beginning for all of you to talk to each other and to take this message forward. Because really, for all these wonderful services, if people don't feel like they can walk through the door, then it doesn't matter. And so it's up to each one of you to say, look, I know where you can go, and I know if you walk in that door, these people will be there, and they'll welcome you, and they'll encourage you, and they'll set you up, and then of course it's up to you to fly. But you've done that, obviously, so I'm just really excited to hear that story, and to hear Gary talk and others talk about your stories. So thank you for doing all that, and remember that the most important thing we can do right now is to reach out beyond our circle here. And I plan to do this again, and I hope that you'll all be gracious enough to come again and to other locations, because I know that we are not reaching, for all of our best efforts, we are not reaching all the people we need to reach. And so many people have been afraid to come into what they consider to be this system. And so we need to sort of, let them know that it's a very friendly place to be, that there's a lot of people who want to assist and to support each other.